Yo, yo, yo. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I am just now jumping over from the Gator Tank Zoom, trying to catch my breath. Holy cow, was that an intense Zoom. It will be posted to my YouTube channel, and y'all should go back and watch it tomorrow. It was absolutely crazy. Well, having said that, welcome everyone to Elephant Challenge. Let me see what's going on. Something's going on. People can't get in. What happened? Let's see. Let me share my link here with everybody to make sure everybody can get in. Miss Dawn Walker helping me out behind the scenes. I super appreciate it. She's going to be reposting some of that. Love it. Oh my goodness. And we just got out of Gator Tank Zoom, my second episode Gator Tank Zoom. Hopefully whoever was there enjoyed it. It's a little nerve-wracking, still learning how to do all that. But yeah, it's amazing. Big things coming down the pipeline for Gator Tank. But this is not Gator Tank. This is Elephant Zoom. This is where we're learning all the things that we need to recover from. This is first off a place where we can recover from the fire hose that was Elephant Challenge. Okay. Let me keep posting links for people to get in. There's been issues with people trying to get in. There we go. If you're here and you have any questions, you're more than welcome to raise your hand, and I will do my best to answer them. I'm in the middle of getting everyone onboarded here, and let's do it. All right. Mr. James, I see you there. How's it going? You guys had more questions. I know you did, because you came back for more brutal punishment. Let's see. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Dawn raised her hand. James?
Yeah.
Pause 1 second, please. Let me see. Hey, Dawn. Something broke.
What's up?
How's it going?
Going.
Carly asked me to use a different Zoom link, and I messed something up. Clearly, I messed something up on my end. So here we are. I had the same issue with the Gator Tank Zoom. I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know. As you can tell, I'm having issues with Zoom anyways today. My camera hadn't worked all day. So that was fun. But no, my only question, man, is why are you looking so suave today? You got a whole setup and you got a fancy shirt on. I'm digging it.
Listen, when Pace asks you to do something, you have to step up, and I want to show people I'm making the effort and stepping up and trying to provide as much value and love as I possibly can.
Dude, I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous.
That's number one. Number two is I talked to Carly, who's in charge of, all the elephant and gator stuff. And I was like, I would appreciate some direction and, kind of like go this way with this whole Gator Tank thing. And Carly was like, Rob, I trust you. Just do whatever you think is best.
Yes.
So I want to do the best I possibly can with the very limited resources and knowledge I have. But, I have wonderful people supporting me, such as you, Don Walker. Mike has been super supportive in everything. And we have awesome guests coming on, like Abraham Gray. Who the heck would have thought we got Abraham Gray to come on? Second episode, like legit.
Yeah. I feel like I was like the poor opening act to that.
Well,
No.
everyone's going to have a hard time following Abraham Gray, you know. So yeah, Gator Tank is going to be cool. We're gonna keep expanding it and growing it. There's lots of interesting things coming down the pipe, especially when you consider Elephant Challenge in December is going to be multifamily focused.
What?
Holy
Of
cow, we're going to need some serious Gator funds for that. So, Don, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
course, man, you're killing it.
Oh, my DFW Texas peeps.
That's right. All right, I'll get off here so you can get on to people that have really good questions and things that I don't have.
I appreciate you, Don. Thank you. All right, I'm going to try to unmute Mr. James Hunt. Give me a second. There you go.
Yep.
How are you, sir and ma'am?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
I am recovering. I'm a recovering Gator Tank addict. What's going on?
I've been making calls all week so far, about 4 or 5 a day, and have a few things that I think might be potential, several of them. But there was one that we had talked to you earlier about last week, and you had mentioned maybe taking a quick look at it or something, but yeah.
Sure. You want me to comp it? Is
Yeah,
that what
we
you want?
you started to last week, but I don't think we really got that far. We went to look at it, and we have a friend who's a realtor who got us in to look at it, and so we think that there's potential there if it comps right, and that's where we're really not confident. It needs a lot of work, but we think it's underpriced significantly.
Wow. Okay. I will be happy to do that for you.
Okay, so did we put it in the address in the chat, or?
Yes, give me 1 second so I can figure out.
I won't be able to stay for this whole session, so I'm just going to chime in and talk while Rob pulling up his stuff. But I want to remind everyone to just be conservative, because this is still a very strange market. So be conservative with your comps. Be a little aggressive and overprice your rehab costs. And if you still come up with a deal with a good spread for you, for your fee, and for that potential buyer, it is a deal. But you have to really scale down a little bit on your comps and push your rehab numbers up. So right now, on average, go like 10-15% below whatever you thought the comp was. After you average out, add at least 15 or 20% to your rehab costs. And that's just a ballpark. That's going to change over time. But right now, drop it for the comps and push the rehab numbers up. And if you still have a deal there, then run with it.
Yes, exactly. We dropped our buy box in DFW by 50K in both the bottom and the top of the buy box. We dropped it 50K just to anticipate what's going to be happening. I don't think the interest rate has quite hit the market. The interest rate change we just had, I don't think it's quite hit the market yet, but it's coming soon. So we preemptively dropped it, knowing that it's going to continue to further cause the market to deteriorate. Number one. Number two, Mike is hopping on a call with our sellers. Is it on a deal we're trying to work? Oh man, that has been a fiasco. Jeez.
So yeah, there's a deal in the works right now. It's a Gator deal, but there's equity involved, and there was a little bit of back and forth. There were multiple buyers into play for commercial property. We were providing EMD with equity upside, and even the EMD amount alone was actually, very nice number, equivalent to a fee of about 150% of the funding amount. So it doesn't matter what amount you're funding, 150% is not bad. So we've had a little bit of back and forth. The reason I'm jumping off is because I'm going to get on a call with those buyers and see if we can still make that deal work. But I would hope I can make that happen while Rob's busy helping you all. And of course, Don is being amazing and being supportive here as well. I don't recognize all the names out here, but I'm sure you all have seen Don and Rob and I out there. So hopefully we can make that deal happen in the background while Rob's helping you all, because you guys are important to us. You're important to Rob, and he's letting me run with the deal because hopefully it's going to be a nice play for him.
Yes.
It'll replace your electrician's income. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna jet. Hope y'all have a great night. Good luck.
Thanks, Mike. Really appreciate you, man. Seriously. He's carrying the ball for me, and I'm pretending that I'm the quarterback. Okay, let's figure out. I see your property there, James. Let me figure out how to. I seriously, I think I broke my computer. Something's going on. You know what it is? Apple released an update, and it's too far advanced for me. I can't figure it out. Okay, I got it. Now we got it.
Okay, but I just messaged you 3 that we found, that we ran by our friend who's a realtor, and he's kind of new, so I'm not real confident even what he was saying, so. The 3 comps, I put them in the chat.
Okay, perfect. Give me 1 second. I'm still getting from people saying that they're having a hard time getting
Oh,
in.
gotcha. No problem.
So something happened with all of my Zooms and everything's crazy. Okay. But I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Okay. Almost there. Almost there. What I need to do is add you guys here. Wow, I really messed this up. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just do it this way. It's not working how I want it to, but I'll make it happen. Alrighty then. Can you guys all see the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay. Now, there we go. Let me turn on the chat so I can see the properties you sent me. What a fiasco. Okay, 3 properties. First one is 9864. Is that a good one to start
So
with?
those are the 3 comps that we found.
Oh, these are comps.
Right,
Okay.
and I wanted to just see if those were correct or if we're totally off, but the up a little bit further is the link to the property. It doesn't come up in Privy.
Well, then we can't do it. If it doesn't come up in preview, we can't do it. It doesn't exist.
We're in trouble because we get a lot of them here that don't come from Privy.
It's true.
What market are you guys in?
Right now we're in Northwest Arkansas,
Northwest
Arkansas,
Arkansas.
Missouri.
Yeah, that's the house.
Jeez. I think something's going on with the internet because everyone's freaking out.
Could be.
Perfect. One more second. You know what I think's going on? I think my wife and all three of my kids are separately streaming something, and it's causing everything to glitch. Anyone else have that issue? Or is it just
Yes.
me?
Absolutely.
Also,
Okay.
you need to close some of your YouTube tabs. That might help.
No, come
Just a
on.
hint.
Come on. These are all critical to my operation here. No, just kidding. No, they're dead. They're not. They're only live when you click on them. So I do remember this property. This was the beautiful property that we all loved. 575.
Yeah. It started at 599 and then
Mhm.
dropped it like 2 weeks after it was listed. I think
Okay.
from what we could tell, they owe about 333. Well, that was
Okay.
what the original sales, that was what I think they bought it for, I should say.
Okay.
Not exactly sure what they owe on it,
Fantastic. Do you have a buyer in mind for this property?
possibly.
Okay. And what price range are they wanting to buy in? Is this within their buy box?
We don't, actually, I don't know. I think it is.
They sound like it is, but
Yeah.
they haven't said for sure.
Perfect. And you guys are planning on wholesaling this?
Yes, we would love to buy and hold, but that's not going to be something we're going to do right now.
Perfect. And then you said you had 3 comps.
Mhm.
Let's see if I can find those comps. The first one is 9864 Southview.
I think it's still Rogers. I can look and see.
Rogers, Arkansas.
I think so. So, yeah. So that one is on the other side of the lake. But what's difficult is when you get farther away from the lake, you get more into, the smaller homes, that they're closer. It's just different developments.
Less land.
Yeah, this one is on its own little development of probably 20 homes. But it was just difficult to find anything that had sold recently.
Okay, next one is, oh, it's 9146. I entered the wrong. I apologize. 9146 Teton Court, also in Rogers. Beautiful. And the last one is Andover Lane, which will be our last comp. Wow. Okay, it is 14224 Andover Lane, Rogers. All right, so we got 3 comps. This is our target property, right?
Correct.
Jeez. Okay. 575 is what they're saying. I want to take a look at these other properties. This one sold in August.
Mhm.
This one sold.
I think they're all, which one is that?
This is
all
9146. They're all August.
Yeah,
Okay, it's a little far out.
Yeah.
It's a little too far out. I would be concerned about that.
so what do you do? Do you that's just okay, we can't find anything closer, so we're gonna move on?
I have a lot to unpack
Okay.
about my thoughts about this whole thing. But I'm just going to keep going forward for a few minutes and then I'll backtrack, okay? But to answer your question, what would I do is I would take this price and drop it 20%.
Okay. Gotcha.
The market has changed somewhere between 10 to 15% since August. 20% would be where I would guess most of the country is going to be in the next, 2 to 3 months. Is just the truth of where we're at right now. Be ahead of the curve is what I'm trying to get at. You're saying you want to negotiate that? You already negotiated this at 350-ish?
No, we haven't at all. We're just wanted to get the comps and figure out where we would, if it makes sense, what numbers would make sense. And even if we might get down to, it might be 450 and it would be a ridiculous offer, but maybe we would try it.
All right, let's see if I can pull up Privy. Access Privy. All right, so here's what's going on here. Here's my thoughts. Where are we at? Arkansas is mostly not blue.
Yeah.
right,
I will say this, though, the area we're in Northwest Arkansas
Right in
is
the corner.
growing really quick right now. And
Mhm.
even the town that we're in is projected to more than double in the next 3 years, to go up by 50,000 people.
well, that's just,
It's funny because you're like, it's gonna double by an extra 50,000.
I know, it's small.
Yeah.
We're from the Portland area. So it
Yeah.
is small, but this little corner seems to be really different.
Yes.
That's what
I
we're hearing.
remember we were talking about the Lake Oswego thing.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, yes. How in the world did you guys end up way out here?
That is a very long story. We sold our house in Beaverton at the end of 2020, bought an RV, traveled the country to try to figure out where we wanted to settle. Had our tow vehicle totaled last November in Branson area, and had our RV towed back to some friend's house that live around here, in near Bentonville, and dealt with insurance for 7 months and decided to stay, that we're done traveling for a while. So that's why we're here.
Cool. Yeah, so I think this one's 545, 5-bed, 3-bath, 3,200 square feet. This one is 4-bed, 3-bath, 3,800 square feet. That one had a 3-acre lot. This one, let's see, it's a much smaller lot, that's for sure. Perfect. And then this one is significantly higher priced. Significantly higher priced. I'm not sure why. Even though it did sell. I mean, it doesn't even have, yeah, maybe it's a nicer area, maybe it's lakefront, who knows, but significantly higher. I don't think this one is probably a good comp, but let me double check really quick. Our house is bigger, way bigger. What's going on with this house? Is it lakefront? Yeah, it's lakefront. That's why it's super expensive.
You're gonna find, I don't know if it's actual lakefront, they have communal dock systems.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that any of them, very few of them actually have their own dock, and that looks like one of the communal docks. You get a space in it, basically.
Which they have if they can get a space, but they don't have a space tied to it right now.
Tell me, what is your guys's mindset around, are you guys looking to do a lot of wholesaling? Are you guys looking to do like one-off properties here and there? Are you guys looking to replace your current incomes? Talk to me about that stuff.
Okay, so we're super new. Let's start with that. Like 2-3 weeks, we had never even heard of this stuff. So we did the Elephant Challenge, actually came in from doing some research after taking another class from somebody else. And we are interested, I think, in wholesale, because really what we want to do quickly is replace our income.
Yeah.
And then we would love to grow into probably more long-term rentals and also short-term.
Perfect.
Fix and flips. But from what we understand, wholesale is a place to start, where we can, I don't know, we're just so new. Our only experience is really buying and selling our own home, and that was all done the traditional way. So we're like sitting in front of the fire hose.
Totally understand it. Yeah, and plus, Elephant Challenge, a 3-day thing, there was a lot of information thrown at everybody, and yeah, it's like drinking from a fire hose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's, go ahead.
I was just going to say that also we started watching the replays of the previous challenges. And I'm trying to remember how we came across this property, because this isn't the direction he went in this last one, where you were looking at properties that had been on the market for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So I forget how we came across this one, but I think we just want to know, should we pursue this more? Or should we just cut it off and focus on the other things that we learned?
Fantastic. Let me try to jump in and answer those questions. I want to see your guys' faces, so I'm going to unshare this. There we go. Love it. Let's back up a bit. Okay. Elephant Challenge is aimed at people who have never done any deals, right? We're talking about how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So we're taking small, tiny steps. Now, it didn't feel like tiny steps when Pace was going all over the place for 3 days and showing you how to talk to people and showing you how to submit offers. Pace is trying to explain a whole entire business model called wholesaling in just a few hours in front of thousands of people. And the world is hectic and things need to be elaborated on, which is why we're here, which is why we have like a dozen elephant leader Zooms throughout the week to help sort of put all that fire hose water in small little cups so everyone can start actually being able to drink. It's kind of like one of those situations where, you're driving down the freeway and you stick your head out the window. You can't breathe because there's so much air coming out. And so you have to like slow it down a bit. That's pretty much what Pace is like all the time. You just need to slow down for people. And he is super good about slowing down and getting people through those complicated things. But there's still a lot more unpacking to do for sure. So that's why we have these Elephant Leader Zooms. What is Elephant Challenge based on? Elephant Challenge is, in a nutshell, wholesaling on market properties. The majority of the time, we're going to recommend that you start with cash offers. We're not, our first shot is not creative option. It's too complicated to start out. Imagine how you feel now when we're just talking about, Elephant Challenge and wholesaling cash offers. Imagine how much more complicated and inundated and overwhelmed you would be if we talked about the various myriad ways to do creative acquisition of properties. So it just wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair to throw so much at anyone, because the overwhelm, what happens most of the time is the overwhelm would cause people to lock up and never take action. And so we don't want that to happen. We want people taking action and we want people to do deals. So that's why we're starting with wholesaling on market properties, primarily beginning with cash. We can talk about creative stuff later, but let's get a few reps in. Let's get a few of these deals done first, right? Now, Pace has talked about a lot of things, right? Elephant Challenge talks about, there's like 5 main areas, right? First is pick your market. Second is find on-market deals, on-market properties. How do we do that? Third is, how do we comp the property? How do we underwrite the property? How do we submit offers to agents, right? Because we're talking about agents in Elephant Challenge. What happens if our offer gets accepted? And then after offer is accepted and now we have a contract, well, then what? Okay, all of those individual little pieces I talked about are all different job descriptions within a larger wholesale company. When we're talking about the different pieces of a wholesale company, we're talking about property finders, acquisition people. Then we're moving on to how do we negotiate contracts? We're moving on to how do we do dispo? How do we sell those properties once we have them under contract? There's a lot there. Here's an intro, like a small 3-day intro to something that is a much bigger topic, being wholesale.
Mhm.
And even wholesale, we've condensed down to being a specific kind of wholesale. right? We're not talking about direct to seller off market properties.
Mhm.
We're talking about agent, direct to agent on market properties via cash, right? We have Stefan here who he's an Astro student, he's a substitute student. The dude's doing creative finance all day, every day in multiple different ways, acquiring properties sub 2 with wraps and selling them via. Okay, Stefan is clearly more advanced.
Mhm.
Stefan is not elephant challenge material, right? We need to break stuff down. I'm gonna pull Stefan up. Stefan is my San Antonio peep.
What up, Rob? Thanks for bringing me
What's
up
up,
here,
brother?
bro.
I love it, man. How's it going?
It's great, honestly. So like, I love that you're like doing the elephant challenge, and then now we have Gator Tank. So I love it, and I love you've only been doing real estate how long?
I've been doing real estate for a while, but nothing like this, bro.
It's
Nothing
game
like
changing,
this.
right? Game changing.
Yeah.
You're like sub 2. Let's do it. Oh my
In the
god,
last year, the world has changed. Yeah.
guys! If
Tell
y'all don't
us.
know, so Rob, you've been. I met Rob. I think what it was like your first Zoom. You're talking with Pace. Rob's like, I'm an electrician in San Antonio. I'm like, guys, San Antonio is my jam. That's my backyard. So then Rob connected. Rob's been a freaking amazing leader in San Antonio. And I noticed a lot of people here are not even just San Antonio. So I love it.
No, we got people from all over. I like to focus mostly on Texas, but we're open to help people all over the country for sure.
It's freaking awesome. So I love this, and I love being able to bring value. Real quick, if y'all haven't seen, I just dropped in the chat. There's a buy box. So I know everybody here is focusing on wholesaling or on market deals. I give y'all some tips and tricks because I do on market deals. I'm an Astro student. Jamil talks super heavy on agent deals. Yeah.
Stefan, tell us what's a buy box.
Oh, okay. Let me slow it down for you. Okay, guys. A buy box is something that happens when you talk with your buyers and they tell you what they want. Okay. Now, not every time is your buyer going to be as kind as me and give you a written format. Sometimes you got to do the work and make the calls, and you have to write the shit down. Okay. And you have to take notes, and you have to remember who they are, what they like, what they're looking for. So I made it super easy in Texas for you guys to supply deals. I have a Keegley hat on now. I have a ton of different hats like sub 2, but I do a ton of cash deals still in this market by having relationships with buyers. Okay. So I just try to make it easy.
Perfect.
Did I cover that? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's good. Thank you. Did you have something else?
It was
Hit
just,
us.
it's just, yeah. So guys, like those are the things, like I've been doing real estate for like 4 years. And when I was brand new, nobody told me it was easy to do deals. Okay. They told me there's a million ways to do marketing, and I could do mailers, and I could do all this stuff. And I guess what? I got 0 deals. Okay. Wasn't for me. What you guys are able to do and go talk to agents on market, work with people like me who can bring you a buyer and connect with other people. That has been the #1 game-changing thing as a wholesaler and as a creative finance investor, because wholesalers sell me their creative deals when they're new. Okay, in the future, you'll probably be able to partner with us, raise private capital, learn all these other skills. But in the beginning, you want to get your hands on some deals. You need to make some quick cash, and you need to get involved with buyers, because you will learn a ton from your buyers and your lenders and everybody else you talk to who knows more than you. Do not be afraid to ask them questions. Do not be afraid to have real conversations. Get to know them, be friendly. I have learned a ton from people who have done no deals, and I've learned a ton from people who've done way more deals. And the only reason they're willing to give me the time of day is because I'm trying to bring them value. Okay. So I've met
Perfect.
some really cool people in this game just by social media, honestly. Just like I have a good brand. I let people know I'm up. What's up?
Love it, man. No, I appreciate you coming out and supporting. Really thankful for it.
I'll give you one more tip and trick just for you guys that are on market, that I think a lot of people overlook, okay, as wholesalers. And Rob, would you say most people in here are trying to wholesale right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So the #1 thing that I think a lot of new wholesalers actually miss, and I do a lot of dispo, guys. So I'm talking to the buyers. I just sold a deal that was on market from a wholesaler, Okay. And I didn't even check if it was on market. I barely even comped the property, but that's because it fit the buy box, right? When it fits the buy box, guys, don't even worry about it. Send it over. What I think a lot of people miss is the art of doing on market deals, and it is an art, is you actually need to get a discount on the listing. Okay. Listings, especially, and you guys should be looking at older ones that have been on market for a little bit. Okay. And you need to call the agents and you need to build rapport. Okay. And as you're building the rapport and you're figuring out what's going on, you want to ask questions that qualify them as the seller and you as a buyer. Don't be afraid to tell the agents, hey, this deal's probably not for me. Do you happen to come across other investment properties? I mean, shoot, I have an on-market deal right now that we're working on. It's under contract. It's a Morby method, but I won't get into it. So the trick is when you're talking to the agents, you're not negotiating with the agent. You're only negotiating with the seller, but you want to find out, hey, what kind of condition is this in, agent? Okay, tell me, make them tell you about the condition, right? And give you some background on why the seller is selling. Then you want to find out, hey, does the seller need time in the house after closing? Okay, that's a big thing, right? Is the seller going to need a lease back? And if so, are they paying rent? Are they not paying rent? Okay, how quickly are they looking to close? Okay, that's another one. Like if they're looking to close tomorrow, then they're probably a lot more motivated. Once you kind of get all of that information, you get some background, you know, the age of the roof, the HVAC, all of the things you get from the seller's disclosure. What I highly recommend doing is going and comping the property, but don't be doing a bunch of comps on market deals, guys, if you're not even talking to the agent, right? Have a productive conversation. If you feel like that's a good property for you, great. If it's not, pivot and say, hey, look, this is probably not the property for me. I'm looking for investment properties. Do you happen to come across any of those? Can I check those out first before they go on the market and build that relationship? Now you have off-market agent deals. Game over. Okay, because now you don't have to worry about it being on market. You can sell it for more. Okay, but if that deal doesn't work for you, don't lose the relationship. Real estate agents are in the game for a long time. I've met agents who have never even heard about Sub2, and they've been doing this for 16 plus years. Okay, so and I'm over here sending them Pace Morby videos, and I'm a kid on the phone. I'm like, you've been doing this for way longer than I've been alive, and I'm going to teach you something new, right? So
Yeah.
I think building relationships with your agents is huge. Now, if it is a property you want to offer on, the first thing I want to do is find out what price the seller's thinking they're going to get. So perfect example, I'm doing a deal with an agent right now. She has it listed for 265. I think it's worth 250 fixed up, maybe 260 fixed up. And I'm like, hey, what's the cash price of the seller? The agent tells
Stefan,
me, yeah.
you're losing people, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry, bro. Okay.
Too
I'll stop
advanced.
talking.
You're too advanced, man.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I just want y'all to know. I want y'all to know. Don't be afraid to shoot your shot with the agent. Okay, they're at
Yes.
235. I offered 180, and it's okay. It's okay. But the agent didn't seem to be like mad at me, and she knows the rules of the game. So, Rob, I really appreciate you bringing me up here, man. If there's anything I can do, let me know. I love
Let
to
me
get
ask
back
you a
to
question. Let me ask you a question because this has come up recently. Some people who, when they're first starting out doing wholesaling, they're offering prices on properties that are severely discounted from the listing price. And they're almost like embarrassed to offer it. Like they feel bad for offering it. And so they don't offer anything. What do you think? What should they do?
I think there's two ways to approach it. Okay. So you really want to talk to the agent and figure out, without even giving a real number, if you're even in the range of what the seller would be thinking, right? So in the situation where the house is listed for 265 and I want to offer 180, first I'm like, hey, what do you think a seller's cash price would be? They're going to tell you. You're going to say something like, hey, I was actually thinking, this is the line I legit used was, hey, I'm thinking I would be below 200. Now I didn't say a number, but she's like, how far below? She asked me, how far below 200? She wants to know. So I gave her a legit number, but by gauging the level of interest, I think you should go for it. And remember, with agents, you're not negotiating with the agent. So if you're going to be professional, guys, that's what I recommend. if you want the agent to take your offer seriously, regardless of how low it is, okay, regardless of how low it is, you want them to take you seriously. So that way, even if that offer doesn't get accepted, and then you maybe make a counter and they make a counter, and now you start talking creative, they knew you were serious from the start, okay? And you want to
Yes.
start with a lower cash offer so that way it doesn't seem like you were pitching creative the whole time. Like Rob said, if you start talking about creative, that's like trying to sleep with the girl on the first night and you just met her on Tinder, okay? It's probably not going to work. It's probably, you're not going to close, okay? And that's not what you want. You want results, right? So take it slow. People like cash. They don't like the discount that you offer, okay? That's totally different things. But they like that it's cash. So I actually will come in super strong on like gut rehabs. Y'all hate me, guys. I go into my calculator and I type in 25% of ARV on a full gut rehab, and I go give it to the agent and I tell them, hey, I don't need an inspection. I can close sight unseen, X number of days. And the reason being is because it's such a low price that I know somebody will buy it. I could make $5,000 on it, but somebody will buy it, right? The thing is that they're usually not gonna accept it, but I want to start the conversation and let them know I'm serious. Send them my proof of funds, build the relationship. Those are all parts of the process, even if that's not a quote unquote contract, you know? That would be
Love it.
my take. That would be my take on it, Rob. I think you
Yeah.
should still make the offer, show that you're at a level of professionalism in the game, and give them all the tools they need to take you seriously for the next deal.
Gangster.
That's it, man. I got a ton
Thanks,
of
Stefan.
gems on agents, but you do this every Tuesday, G. So I'll try to bring more value.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, Stefan. Awesome, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting. I really appreciate it. Awesome. So let's unpack this for a second. Let's step back a little bit on what Stefan said. Realize that even Stefan is working on a team. Like that whole process of finding a deal, negotiating the deal, talking to the agent, dispoing the deal, it's hard to do by yourself. And the point of Elephant Challenge isn't so that you know how to do all those steps perfectly. It's so that you get an introduction to all those various steps, that you try them once or twice and see where the best fit for you is, and then team up. We call it in sub 2, we call it squatting up, right? Squat up with other people who are better at other things than you are, right? If you're great with numbers but can't talk on the phone worth anything, then find properties and run numbers and find someone else to talk on the phone for you. If you're great at acquisition but have no clue or desire to dispo a property, find someone like Stefan or me who can dispo properties. It's all about squatting up, bringing each other value, making this a team effort. You're going to go further together for sure. So, James, we were talking about intro stuff. Here's intro stuff. Elephant Challenge, first thing, pick a market, right? We're being super specific in Elephant Challenge about what markets to pick because we're wanting people to use Privy. That's the first caveat. Second caveat is it needs to be in a market where Privy has a blue bubble. And I hope you guys know what I mean by a blue bubble. Let's see if I can share this again one more time. Can I do that? Yes, I can. All right, so Privy's blue bubble. Let's see, where's my little screen? This is my little screen. Oh man, the whole world is running slow today. Okay. All right, blue bubble. Everybody seeing blue bubbles? Now, those are the two things so far. Has to be on Privy, a blue bubble. The other thing that we talk about, we want to be doing business in states where people are actually moving to. You don't want to be doing business in a state where people are leaving, like Portland. I'm from Portland, I left. James, you and your wife are from the Portland area, you left, right? I know dozens of people who have left Seattle, Portland, California, Chicago, anywhere northeast. I mean, people are leaving, right? The majority of people are moving to the Sun Belt. Okay, that's the next thing we should consider. After that, we should also consider, well, it goes without saying that the majority of the Sun Belt states are red states and that they're landlord-friendly states, right? So we already have a few criteria that we went over that's like, here are markets that are good potentially to invest in, right? They're blue, they're generally in this 1/3 area of the country. That's where we should pick a market. Now, I'm being specific because this is only one way to do things. Are there deals in Portland? Heck yeah. Is there business being done in Chicago? Heck yeah. But specifically for Elephant, because we're trying to make things as simple for people as possible, we're trying to suggest people be here, around here. You guys see my big mouse now? This area. You know, Vegas is good, Phoenix is good, Albuquerque's whatever, but try to stay in this area. So we've picked a market. What's the next thing after we pick a market? For example, let's pick, I mean, I'm in Dallas, let's not pick Dallas. Just so people don't get thrown out. Let's pick Florida. I like Florida. Jackson, look, we just happen to be in Jacksonville today. We decide Jacksonville is the market we want to be in, right? I'm going to zoom in with Privy, and the first thing I see is these blue bubbles. Now, blue bubbles mean this is where there's movement in the market. This is where deals are being done. This is where things are being bought and sold. Should I pick a 1300 bubble? I mean, I'm trying to be as super basic as possible, right? Should I pick a 1300 bubble or a 4 in Moniac, Georgia? I don't even know where this is, you know? So pretty basic stuff, right? And we're zooming in and we're still seeing more blue bubbles. So I think once you get to, I think it's 500 or 200, I'm not sure exactly what it is. On the page, it starts to break it up. So now we're in an area where there's definitely a lot of movement happening. Now I want to pick an area, and we're going to wait for my, this, look at this. This is a fantastic area. I see lots of green in here. This is where I'm going to choose to do some work, right? I'm going to get my little pencil here on the right over here. I'm going to get it. And I don't want to cross. I want to pick something like that. All right, that was terrible, Robert. Come on. What the heck? I like this line here. I'll go to here. And I'll go here. There. That's kind of the area I'm looking at. Now, how do we comp? Like, we found a few properties that we're going to be looking at, right? How do we comp? What are we looking for? Okay, let's take a something further back, another step back, because I think it's important to explain. If we're in Jacksonville, we need to know what the Jacksonville market is doing. Now, I'm going to get pretty granular here. I'm going to go into depth, but I think eventually it'll serve my point. Okay. And what I'm going to do is, now that I've picked Jacksonville, I've decided Jacksonville is where I want to invest. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go Jackson. Oh, Robert can't spell. Jacksonville, Florida, real estate. statistics. Okay. Trends and forecasts. Oh, Norada. Come on, Norada. It's generally pretty good, but it just takes forever to find decent information on Norada. But sometimes what you can do is you can look at this, but Norada's too. I don't like Norada. Let's try Redfin. Redfin's decent. Okay, so Jacksonville housing market, the median sale price in Jacksonville is 300,000. That's where the majority of business is being done, in this range. Now, should we, as newbie wholesalers who have never done a deal, look at properties that are in the $600,000 range and above? No, we shouldn't. For a variety of reasons. First off, you're going to have a hard time finding a buyer in that. Your only buyer is probably going to be an end buyer who's looking for a home for themselves and their family to move in. You're going to have a hard time finding a buyer, right? Let's see if I can get some more detailed information. I mean, look at this whole thing. Median price has barely risen in the last year, maybe 50K or so. You're going to have a hard time getting even into like the 500 region. I would stay above. I would stay below 500 if it was me. So you want to be kind of near median and below. That's what I would recommend. As soon as you go to the top of the market, you're going to start to lose buyers. You guys following? You following with me? My recommendation. All right, I'm trying to get you guys to deal as quick as possible. Perfect. So in Jacksonville, I know my median is 300. I know I want to be at or below 300 just to make the odds of what I'm trying to do as good as possible. I'm looking here in this little area we picked because there was a lot of green here. I don't see anything that's above our median. This is probably a great market to be in. These are all there's lots of activity happening here. I want to be in this market. So I click deals, I click fix and flip. What does this mean on Privy? This means that Privy has researched and calculated all this stuff and found that these 32 properties are potential candidates for fix and flip homes. So we have plenty of opportunities here. First glance, first thing I'm looking at is I see lots of things in the hundreds, and I see some things that are really low priced, really low, 30, 27K. Okay, this means that there's some low hanging fruit here. 27K, I mean, this is probably a lot. Look, it's a house. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. Now, Stefan sees things differently than Robert. Like, I am super not interested in 2-bedroom, 1-bath house because they're super hard to sell. Like, nobody wants this stuff. So I'm not going to look at that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to filter. I want to try to see if I can get 3-bed, and I'll leave 1-bath, even though it's not my favorite in this particular example, okay? And I want to bring down my ARV. What does this mean? What is this whole blue area? This whole blue area says I'm looking for fix and flip, potential fix and flip properties that are already listed at, let's say, 60, let's go 65% of ARV, okay? Yeah, in the chat, Ryan and Brittany make a fantastic point. A 2-bed, 1-bath are great properties next to colleges. Yeah, you got to know your market. And I think it would be wise of us. Let's take that into account. It's a valid point. I'm not going to set this filter at 3-bed, whatever. Let's leave it just like this. Yellow I'm under the impression yellow is usually schools, but I could be wrong because that's a lot of them. Let's go to, just a second. I want to back out. No, Ryan and Brittany, you know I love you guys. Maps.google. No, it's a valid point because we're trying to comp properties and we're trying to understand how we pick properties. So it's a valid point. Let's zoom in. We're kind of in this area. I'm terrible at, I'm sorry, James, I'm gonna close some of these out, but I think you're on the same wavelength as I am. So we're gonna get there. I see this little dip in the river. I see this little dip in the river. We're kind of in this little triangle. What is this? It's a hospital. It's a hospital. There is right here a college, Florida State. Very, very good point. This is it's a grade school. We're on the pretty close to the train tracks, but that's okay. There's other schools here. But I'm going to allow it. I'm going to allow, yeah. Ryan and Brittany, we talk the same language. So medium-term rentals, because you're next to a hospital, that's a fantastic option also to consider as an exit strategy. So let's allow 2-bedroom, 1-baths. Will you guys all give me that grace to allow 2-bedroom, 1-baths? So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so we're wanting to look at things that are listed 65% and below. We want to leave this as low as we possibly can, realizing that the market's been dropping and that there's potential for the market to drop more. And in a month or two from now, when properties have really been hit by what's going on in the interest rates, it might be that this is not 65 anymore, that property is now, you know, at a different place. I think everything else looks good here. We've set our filters. Perfect. Now this thing came up. What is this? Green are properties that are for sale. Red are properties that have sold. So we want to look at properties that are active. And I like, let me pick, I don't want it to be next to the freeway. 99, I like this one. Let's look at this one. All right. We have a 2-bed, 1-bath. I'm not gonna go anywhere until, you know, don't be quick to like scroll down and don't even know what you're really looking at. Unless you can tell me what the property is, don't move on. So we're gonna understand we're about at $55,000 for the property. We have MLS access. These are super important to learn because they tell you very important things. What do these mean? Well, we have a key here. Let me make my mouse bigger. There's the key right there. You hit the key and it tells you absentee owner. Fantastic. That's a good thing. Cash buyer. It's corporate owned and tired landlord. So this is potentially a good property for us to look at because there's probably not a homeowner in it. So there's opportunity here. Built 1915. It's a small little house, 588 square feet, 2-bed, 1-bath. Let's also take our time and look at the property pictures to determine, we're going to start to put what I'm doing. Let me take a step back. What I'm doing with all of this is I'm trying to build a story in my head about this property. I want to understand from a story perspective. Humans understand things when they're in story form. I'm trying to build a story form in my head about this property. So I want to comp it and see how much rehab it needs. So I can see from this picture, like definitely at least one new window. lots of trim work. Absolutely needs a paint job. The siding, I'm not sure what this is if it's a crack in the brick or not, but there's clearly a few things just on the outside first picture that we can tell needs some work. These are fantastic pictures, of course. Definitely paint, definitely touch-ups. This for sure needs to be addressed. This fireplace looks like it's cracked and fallen apart, and there's interesting things happening to this plug. I'm not sure if that's a crack or mispaint or something going on. Honestly, it looks like maybe water damage. The trim is all messed up. This whole thing is all messed up. It's got a water here. Fantastic. Fantastic. Look at this. 2 different types of flooring. So like this flooring needs to be changed for sure. And we're back at the beginning. So there's not a lot of pictures here, but we can tell just from the few pictures we had, like this is not, oh junk, I hit the wrong button. Let me see if I can recover. Yes. I went too far. I was supposed to hit this arrow and I hit this arrow. Okay. But from what we can tell about the picture, like this is not a total gut job. Like this is not a destroyed property that needs to be like completely redone. You know, will it need work? Yes. Is it in like disastrous shape where things are burned down and all that stuff? No. So is it a lipstick job? Hard to tell from these pictures because we don't know the condition of the bathrooms. We don't know the condition of the kitchen. Let's assume, just for example's sake, you know what? Let's not for example's sake. Let's just move on to a different property because I want to be as crystal clear as I possibly can. Oh, look at this gem of a house. Similar 2-bed, 1-bath. This one's at 75,000. Privy, this little star, whatever badge is a Privy preferred property, meaning that Privy with its algorithms and AI and all that thinks that this is a very good deal. Okay. Again, we're looking at it, could use some yard work, maybe needs the sidewalk repaved. Windows look really good from what I can see. The siding looks pretty decent, you know, cleaned up the roof a bit. New fence, you know, if we're talking about making this a decent property, definitely needs some repairs here and there. Let's see if we can get in. Carpet needs to be replaced. I mean, it looks livable. You know, this to me is, I mean, the bathrooms have almost been, this is new, this is new, this is new. This shower and bath needs to be redone. Oh yeah, for sure. But you know, it's livable. The kitchen looks fantastic for what we're talking about, you know. Yeah, I mean, this is a great property. Lipstick. I would say this is lipstick. I don't think it needs to be gutted. I don't think it needs major renovations. This is a lipstick repair. You guys remember what our criteria is for lipstick repair? I'm going to drop it in the chat. Let's see if I can pull it up. Let me see if I can pull up the. You have so many little windows and stuff open that there's no way I can accurately point at things on the screen. So let's go Paces comp. Pace. What's going on? Paces 15 steps to comping. Why don't I just give it all of it? Something like this. Copy. And let me find you guys again and put this into the chat. I don't know how good it's going to come out, but oh, come on. Man, I am having all sorts of computer problems today. I love it. Time for another computer. Business expense. Why? Why? Copy. Paste. It's too big. Okay, let me just do this small little one then, because this is the one I'm really interested in. All right, so this is what Pace recommends. $20 a square foot about for lipstick repairs. $20 a square foot times 848 square feet. Where are we at? 20 times 848. We're about 16,900 or so. Let's round it out to 20,000 rehab. Okay. The second thing we need to consider is that we need to do some outside work. So outside work, in order to make our property nice, is right around this neighborhood. Now, I'm going to call it 5,000, right? So we're somewhere in the ballpark of $25,000 of repairs to bring this up to a decent level. Now, how much repairs should we do? Like, should we redo a whole bunch of stuff here? Should we should we put new landscaping in? Should we, this thing that's up here, like, is this worth keeping? How do I really comp? Like, do we replace the carpets? Should we paint? How much of the electrical should I do? Well, now we're running into a discussion about comping, and we have to look at other properties because we can't just look at only our property and decide that that's a good property. So we're going to scoot down. We're looking at our market. I want to use my little pencil. You know what? I'm going to answer some questions because I want to make sure I'm not leaving anyone behind. Okay, this is what we're looking at. Let me stop sharing for 1 second. Let me answer some questions. I don't want to lose anybody. Tim, let me bring you up here. I'm unmuting you now.
Hey, Rob.
Mr. Tim Ford. Hey, how are you, sir? You got
Doing
any
pretty good.
questions?
Yeah, but we kind of passed that point already. It was just my question is related to, I was talking to two agents last week, and both of them were open to creative finance. So I'm new at creative finance and how to actually structure that. I do have the template for the LOI, but as far as knowing how to underwrite those kind of deals, I don't know how to do that, or I don't know at what point I need to have that conversation to get more information.
Perfect. I'm not going to cover that right this second, but
Okay.
if you want to reach out to either Stefan or Don, they're both versed in creative stuff and they'd be happy to help you.
Okay.
Otherwise, I can try to take care of it later. But yeah, Stefan's great. Don is great. They know what they're doing.
Okay, I'll reach out to one of them.
For sure. Ryan and Brittany, they're here. They know what they're doing. There's a few people in the chat. We got some solid people. Crystal's here. I thought I saw Tori here. Yeah, I mean, we got legit people here. So if any of you can just DM Tim, I'd appreciate it. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Of course, man. Let me get to Ricky Hines. Just 1 second, Ricky. Let me hit unmute. There you go.
Hey, Rob, how's it going, man?
It's going. How are you, sir? Oh, did I lose you? I can't can't hear you anymore. You must have muted yourself. Let me unmute you just 1 second. Hold on. Hold tight.
You put up the after.
There we go. I can hear you now.
You put up the after on a soul comp. How you did that?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
I was saying you pulled up the after versus the soul comp at the same time. I was trying to see if you kept how you did it. You look
How I
into
pulled up
market,
the comps from the other properties?
how you pull up the comp, the soul comp and the after comp at the same time in previous.
Oh,
I'll
before
try
and
to figure
after
out how to
comp.
do it.
Before and after. How I got before and after, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like okay, the active comp versus the soul comp. You had them both pulled up, and you're picking the after comp. How you say you didn't want to be near the freeway. I try to see how you do that.
Sure. It was hard to hear you for a second. It was a little muffled. So the way Privy has, if you're in one of those markets that I'm recommending, one of those blue bubble markets, Privy has market MLS access to those, right? So when you're looking at a property of one that has sold, and I'll get to, let's see if I can find one. So when you're looking at a property of one that's sold, like let's take this one for example. It's got, sometimes it has a before and after section right here. You see it? And when you click on that, it has a before and after photo. Not all of them have this, and not all of them are completely updated and in good condition, like picture wise.
All right.
But sometimes they do have it. Yeah. Is that what you were asking?
No. Know how you go into the market, right? Like go back to Privet Coverage, and you went down into Privet Coverage. You went deep into it, right? So you had seen the you had hit fix and flip and brought up all the sold price. Then you brought up all the after price at the same time.
Oh, okay. I think I'm following. So when I filter properties, there's a button right here.
Okay.
Active, sold.
Oh, knucklehead. All right.
You see that? So
Yes, sir.
I'm including both the active and the sold properties on what I want to see when Privy is pulling up whatever it's doing, right? The other thing
Yes,
is,
sir.
since we're here, I'm going to take a second and sidetrack just to explain how these quick filters work, because it's important to know. Like, let's say you want to see absentee owner properties, and you want to see foreclosure properties, and you want to see cash buyer properties. You would think that now you're going to see all those types of properties, right?
Right.
But that's not what's happening here. What's happening here is you're going to see properties that are absentee and they're foreclosed on and they're cash buyers. This is a compounding filter that will really screw you up if you don't know how to use it. So, be selective what you're going to use here, because they add on top of each other. If I want an absentee property and a bank-owned property, it's not going to show, it's not pulling up two lists here. It's pulling up one list that has properties that fit both of these criteria. So that's just FYI, side note.
That's good to know. That's good
Yeah.
to know. That's
Yeah, because a lot of people get screwed up here with this whole thing. And same thing like you said, Ricky, like they don't check the right ones here. And so like properties don't come up and they can't figure out what's going on. So no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
no problem. Appreciate you, Rob.
Yes, sir. Okay. So we picked a property. I think it was this one. Yes. Now we have to decide how much repairs are we going to do on this property. I want to look at a few more things before we get too far. We have before and after. These guys did a little bit of work on it, clearly. It's gone up in price, up in square foot. It went from a 3-bed to a 2-bath, supposedly. This is really interesting. 414 days on market. I don't think this property was done as a flip. This is probably somebody bought it and lived in it or something. But you know, we can actually look into some of this. I have to move my camera because it keeps getting in my way. It was sold in 2020. And looks like 7 months later it was sold again. They had a list pendants in 2017. Interesting stuff. There's no mortgage on it because people probably paid cash. So in 2020, Invictus Holdings sold it to Mayors, and Mayors probably lived in it for a while and then sold it to Sterling. And now they're probably selling it. So it's interesting to, man, look at that. It's crazy. Crazy prices. So basically, how much repairs should we do to this house? And the way we determine how much repairs should we do to this house is we kind of want to compare it against other houses that are in the neighborhood, right? We want to make our house equivalent to what the other houses in the neighborhood are selling at. So we're not gonna, we're not gonna go all HD TV on this house and put marble everything in there if none of the other houses in the neighborhood have that. We're over rehabbing. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. We also want to make sure we're getting like top dollar on our return. So we want to make sure that we're not doing less rehab than everybody else is necessarily. So what we're going to do, let me answer a question. Just to clarify, Lars asked, just to clarify, filter does all selected? Yes. Quick filters stacks to meet all requirements. If I'm following you correctly, I believe that's true. Privy also has great training on their website and on their YouTube channel. If you want like further Privy insights, that is a great place to go. I am planning on bringing one of my teammates who is super great at Privy on. He's another Elephant Challenge leader. I'm happy to bring him on. He loves Privy. He's really good at Privy, and I'm sure he'd teach me stuff too. So maybe we'll do that. If not next time, then the week after for sure. But I'll make that happen. Let's see. Any other questions? Doesn't look like it. Okay. If you guys have questions, feel free to raise your hands and don't feel like you're interrupting or anything. I'm happy to answer them. So let's check out these other houses that are also in our neighborhood that can tell us how much rehab we should do first. And second, how much our house is actually potentially worth, whether our house is worth what we think it's worth. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at all these houses in the neighborhood. I want to look at only houses that have been sold. It's not good to look at houses that are not sold yet because we don't actually know what they're going to sell for. We need to comp apples to apples, oranges to oranges. And so we want to have properties that are as close to our target property as possible. So I'm just for the sake for you guys getting rid of all of these properties that don't fit our criteria at all. I'm just hiding them all just so we can have a focus our vision on what's going on. I'm not going to get rid of these because these are under the sold thing, so I don't want to hide them. No pending or under contract properties for sure. Second thing I want to do is I want to make sure, like, so this gray line right here across my screen is our target property, 1654 25th Street, Jacksonville. First thing I do is I want to make sure I get rid of all bedrooms are important, right? I have a wife and 3 kids. Like, bedrooms are important. So, you know, if the other thing is, if we're talking about like this is a college rental or a midterm rental, bedrooms are important, right? We can't compare our 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom. An extra bedroom is a significant difference in a house, and it's not an even comparable. Now, having said that, I'm interested in this one here because, like ours, it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath and became a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. I'm interested to see what if that's something that might be able to happen in our property. It's a little bit more advanced than what we're going to do in this first post elephant challenge meeting, so I'm going to get rid of it, but food for thought. And I'm just looking here, 3 bedrooms. I'm just going to use this little eyeball to blind myself to all the 3 beds because I'm not interested in those. Here's another one of those 2-bed becomes a 3-bed, but we'll get rid of it just for the sake of our discussion. So now we're dealing with all 2-bed houses. I also am interested in getting rid of all the 2-bath houses. Again, just for the sake of our discussion. I'm super interested in houses like this because when you're seeing on one property these 2 different price ranges, it's trying to tell you that it's possible that this house was flipped, that this house was rehabbed and sold by an investor. And we're seeing that it was on days on market, DOM right here. Days on market is how long it was on the market before it sold. So once it was listed, how long did it stay on the market until it was sold? That's what that is. So we've narrowed down 2 beds, 1 baths. We're talking apples to apples, oranges to oranges, right? The next thing I do is I look at sold. I only look at things that are sold within the last, especially in this market right now, 60 days. Like max 90 days. That's too far out for me. The market's changing too quickly. There's too many unknowns. 60 days is what I recommend. Get it to 30 if you can. Even better. 60 days is acceptable. 90 days is just too much for me. So what I'm going to do is March, that is not even in the ballpark of what we're talking about. August, man, August is still too far out. I'll allow 1 August. How about that? So we got an August, a September, and an October. Okay. Now, luckily, we have one of these that looks like it was flipped, which I'm loving. And I want to look at that. Let's see. I got some questions. This is good to know. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Okay, I answered that one. Yes. Myrna, this will be posted on my YouTube channel. I record. Dang, am I recording? Yes, I'm recording. That would have sucked. I'm recording. It'll be posted on my YouTube channel. My handle is on the screen. It's the same across all of my social and medias and all that sort of stuff. And you can find it there. I'll try to post it by tomorrow. I'll do my best. Cool. So we're looking at properties that are decent comps, decent comparables, the word's right here, decent comparables to our target property. Our target property is 2-bed, 1-bath. It's getting about $88. It's listed at $88 per square foot. Our house is 848 square feet, which interestingly is bigger than our competitors, but not by much. 50 square feet, 75 square feet. You'd be hard pressed to like actually figure out where 75 square feet is. It's not very big. But in a tiny house like this, 75 square feet is enormous. So it's definitely a factor for us. Okay. The last thing I want to do personally, what Robert does, is I look at year built. Now, I differ than other people in this, the way I do this, because the truth is between like 1920 and 1970, there really wasn't a huge change in technology of building houses. Like houses were built generally pretty well during this period. You know, Romex came out later than this. I mean, some of these early houses, you're still going to have knob and tube wiring. But in general, like, you know, when they say things like, oh, they don't build them how they used to, or that house had good bones. Like, this is true of this era. Nobody says that of like a 2006 house. Oh, it's got good bones. Like, no, it doesn't. It's garbage. All these new built houses, unless they're custom built, are all paper thin, you know. Yeah, technology is way different. So personally, 1972 is a little far out from 1935, but for the sake of this discussion, I'm going to leave it. Having said that, typically the rule of thumb is plus or minus 10 years, but that's more applicable to newer houses. Plus or minus 10 years is more applicable to newer houses, less applicable to older houses where technology hasn't changed really, and stuff is generally built with quality. I mean, they used real wood back then. The wood we have now is like fast growth wood, and it warps like crazy, and yeah, furniture isn't the same. I mean, if an IKEA thing falls on you today, it sucks, but if grandma's old dresser falls on you, you're dead. Like that thing weighs 5 million pounds. So that's where we're at. I am going to say that these are comparable properties to our target property. And so now we can kind of think our way through some comps. Distance tells us how far away it is from our target property. Now, there is something I want to talk about, and it is this whole thing, these two columns right here. Our target property is $74,000. This property here, which sold in September, it was on the market for 4 days. Fantastic. Sold quick. It sold quick. I'm submitting to you, the reason it sold quick is because it sold at a ridiculously low price. Okay. This property, the next one, sold at $75,000. Let's assume what Privy assumes, that this house was potentially a flip because it was on the market, you know. I'm missing something here. There used to be another tab here that was like hold time, but anyway. So they bought for 75 and then sold for 101. And then these guys also sold for 99,000. This column here tells us how much our house is compared to this one. Our house is 220% of what this one sold at. Our house is at 74% of what this one sold at. Our house is at 75% of this $100,000. So it's trying to kind of give you a little bit of insight, like, hey, you could potentially buy this house at 75% of what other houses are selling at 74% of what other houses are selling at, which is a good indicator. This is not a good indicator, but this is probably a one-off property. And so what we're going to do in order to ensure our comparables are actually comparables, we're going to jump deeper into these three properties. Now, before I do that, we're an hour and a half into this. I don't want to keep you guys on too long. I'm going to try to be a hard stop at 9 o'clock, and we'll revisit this next week for sure. So I'm happy to stay on until 9 o'clock. If it runs longer, no problem. What I wanted to say was this process has taken us an hour and a half, because I'm trying to be as detailed and granular as I can. You should make it your point that you can do everything I'm describing to you in an hour and a half in under 20 minutes. You should be able to comp a property in under 20 minutes. Now, you're not going to be able to do that the first time. You're not going to be able to do that the fifth time. But hopefully by the 10th and 15th and 20th time, you're able to look at a property and within 20 to 30 minutes max, you should be able to tell this is a good deal. I need to put an offer on this. Your goal, KPI, we talk about key performance indicators, KPI. Your goal should be, if you've got 2 hours a day and you're doing 20 minutes per property comping, you should easily be able to do 5, 6 properties. If you've got 3 or 4 hours a day, you should be able to submit 5 to 10 offers per day. Because it's only when you're flexing and doing reps at that level is when you're going to start to see movement in your business, right? Oh, thank you. Thumbs up. I love it. Just like anything else, you have to put in the reps to get better. Yes, Don. I think we would all agree. Like, so let's rewind an hour and a half. James, a week and a half on a property, bro. I understand. There's a lot going on, you know. Let's work on
When we
moving.
talked to you last week, we got one of the people from the group that was there who is thinking about, she's selling where she lives, her home, California. And she actually called us and said she might be interested in the property. So we are pursuing it with that. But honestly, I haven't even been able to get a hold of the seller, or not the seller, but the agent.
Yeah.
So they haven't returned calls or anything. So I'm still trying to get a hold of them, but I did get to go down there. And I'll be honest with you, brother, you're looking at probably at least $100,000 in work to fix it up. So
yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, you know.
Primarily now because somebody told us they were interested in it.
And I'm gonna say one thing, but 2 ways, okay? First off, like, don't fall in love with a property and end up spending a week on it, and then you never get offers submitted and you never do anything. Totally understandable. Like, hey, we're just starting out and we're learning these things, and no problem. Like, I'm hoping you're at least hearing it, and it's like, oh man, I never really thought about that. I should be doing more, you know. So like, don't fall in love with a property, but sometimes it's okay to be like, this is a really interesting property and I really want to pursue it, and maybe I can, you know, one-off refer it to a friend of mine who wants to do it, you know. But just be wise about it and be mindful of your time, especially if it turns out to be nothing and you're never compensated for your time. You know, value your time. I think that's important. Value your time.
You will be happy to know we are looking at Florida and Texas. So
love it. I'm not picking on you, James. I'm just kind of talking through you because it was a fantastic example.
Cool. No worries.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ryan and Brittany, don't force it. Pieces don't fit together. Move on. Yeah. I think a great like goal, you know, goal to shoot for is I want to be able to comp and underwrite a property in 20 minutes. And so I'm going to be practicing that until I get really good at it. I mean, okay, like for example, in Gator Tank, you know, the last Zoom I was in, I had a guest on, Abraham Gray, who he's buying one house a day. And he's comping properties. I mean, he's in 5 minutes, he can tell you whether that's going to be a deal or not, under 5 minutes. But obviously that comes with lots of experience and lots of reps and lots of repetitions and lots of getting to know your market specifically, being hyper focused on your market. Some guys like Stefan, they can handle 4 markets. Other guys like Robert, I can handle 1. Like I'm okay with 1. I don't need to be going all over. You know, it's just a different business model. But it is important to be able to handle your market and know your market. Where if someone tells you, hey James, I have a property that's, you know, $150,000 in Lake Oswego neighborhood. What do you think?
Buy it,
Exactly. You know the market, right? You know the market.
because all the houses around it are over $1 million.
Yeah, but if someone says, "Hey, I have a property that's worth, you know, $200,000 in Waxahachie, North Carolina," I have no idea what you're talking about. So back to our thing, you know, like pick a market, get to know your market, spend time. Like I showed you guys that you know, Jacksonville market statistics. Like I spend a lot of time making sure I know with a pretty high accuracy, you know, my market, my buy box, what people are looking for in that area. Because I have acquisitions people who it depends solely on that fact, right? And it's my job to make sure that they have the best information possible so that they form a proper buy box around what our buyers are looking for. So yeah, let's jump into each of these properties. This property is looks like it's most like our property, but I'm interested in this one because it's such a low price, and I don't know why they got a low price, and so I want to do a little bit more research. That's fantastic. This is an electric service, and there's no meter on it. I think there's a Waxahachie, North Carolina, could be Texas. I don't know. I pulled that name out of my ears, so I'm surprised it even landed anywhere. So this has no meter on it. These guys are not even getting power to the house. What's going on over here with this whole thing? Boarded up windows. Yeah, so this was clearly sold on September 7th. Zombie property. We look at our key. Zombie property. No one's lived in it for a while. What's the box mean? I don't even know what the box means. Vacant. Yeah, no one's lived in it for a while. Looks like it's owned by an institution. They bought it for cash, which makes sense because that's what most institutions do. And of course, they're institutions, so they don't live in it, so they're absentee owners. Good. It's pretty much, you know, in the same neighborhood we're looking at. This home needs some TLC. I love how agents are. It only needs a little bit of love. Investors rehab specialty, being sold as is. Price to sell. Of course, they're priced to sell. They're ready for it to go. And they whoever bought this house got it at a fantastic. Look at this, listed at 60,000, and they bought it at half price. Fantastic deal. Fantastic deal. You know, they really got a good deal on this one. Let's see. I mean, clearly needs work. This house looks like it needs. What do you guys think? Does this house need less work than ours, the same work as ours, or more work than ours? I think it's pretty clear. Like this house needs more work than our little lipstick job, right? It needs, yeah. our house needs less work than this house. And so it's clear why they got such a good deal on it. Now I can't close this thing. There we go. I want to look at this property, which we said is the most similar to ours. Oh, look at that. How close is that to ours? Let's see. Nah, it's not quite the same as ours, but pretty little house. This sideways angled siding, I never liked that stuff. But looks like it's got a pretty newish roof on it. Nothing looks too out of place. You know, it looks like it was painted, and definitely looks like it's been, you know, flipped. You know, it's been redone. It's, you know, great condition. This drives me crazy. This is bonkers. If you're putting a new floor, this looks to me like it's a transition strip. Like, why wouldn't you just take the floor all the way through? And why wouldn't you take the floor all the way through in this room? Like, why would you do 2 transition strips? Just ridiculous. Ooh, that's lovely. So they clearly didn't do any kitchen work. Our kitchen is nicer. In our example house, our kitchen is nicer than this, for sure. The rest of it looks decent. Bathroom looks decent. You know, the shower is nicer than ours. Ours was that nasty shower. But okay, you know, ours is very similar to this property. I would agree that ours is pretty similar to this property. Maybe if we did a little bit more work to ours, we can bring it up to this level, 100,000. But this also sat on the market for over 4 months. You know, so that's another thing to consider. This property sold for 100,000. Let's take a look at this property. This is not a great example. Oh, it's got an external listing. Sold October. Beautiful. Let me move my screens around. Definitely needs a little bit of work. Same pictures. So this one also needs a little bit of work, but it's sold. Our property is in a bit nicer condition than this. It's listed at 77,000. This one sold at 100. Let's see if I can close this. Yes. Okay, I'll close this one. Okay, so now we're kind of getting a pretty good idea. This one sold at 100,000, and it's not quite as nice as our property. This one also sold at 100,000, and it's about the same quality as our property. Our property is listed at 74. So now we have to determine, like, what is the value of our house? How much could it actually sell for if we did a little bit of work to it? If we put in $20,000, okay, let's work backwards a little bit. So they're asking 74,000. We know that we need 20,000 of repairs, roughly, you know, for a lipstick job. And we know that we're going to need about 5,000 for yard work to make the outside look presentable. And because this isn't a high ticket property, let's just, for the sake of argument, say that we want to have about a $10,000 assignment fee. Okay. So we pull out our trusty calculator and we say 74,000 minus 20,000 minus 5,000 minus our $10,000 assignment fee. We're looking at somewhere in the ballpark of $39,000. Okay. Does that sound like a reasonable number? Does that sound like we've comped this property sufficiently?
What was the number?
39,000. Have we comped the property sufficiently? I'm gonna say no. What did we miss? Come on, let's get some activity. I'm falling. My blood sugar's falling or something's going on. I'm tired. Put some activity in the chat. What did we miss?
What about closing costs? Did we miss closing costs?
What else did we miss? Well, we can call it closing costs. What's included in closing costs? Oh, good. Look at that. Margin. Agent's fee. Yeah. So let me do another one of these. Look at this. Copy. Paste. Look at this. Required net profit margins. If the market's trending upward, 10% is what we want to net at the end of this. A fix and flipper will want to net this, right? If the market is stagnant, 15%. If market is trending downward, which is what we're in, we want to do another 20%. These are things that we need to consider when we're comping properties, right? Another way that's often done, let me just run some numbers really quick. Yeah. Another way we can look at it, I mean, there's lots of ways to comp numbers. There's lots of ways to get to a number that is valid for making an offer. One of those is to do what Stefan was saying earlier. Just look at the ARV and multiply, divide by 2. That's one way to do it. Now, I want to back up a little bit because you might ask, why did we start with 74,000 when we said our property could potentially be worth 100,000? That's true. And that's something that it's a judgment call. Why don't we say 100,000? Let's say 100,000. But I wouldn't be comfortable saying 100,000 because the market's dropping, right? Because I don't know, I haven't done enough research to look at the statistics to know how much the market's dropped, say from August to September, September to October. I don't know that specifically. What I can tell you is in the lower end of the market, which is what this is, the drops are not quite as significant, right? A 10% drop at 74,000 is $7,400. A 10% drop at $1 million is $100,000. That's a significant difference, right? So when we're talking about decreasing costs of housing in the lower segment of the market, it's not going to have as a significant impact in this area. So for argument's sake, let's say that Jacksonville prices have dropped 10%. 10% out of 100, 8% in the past 4 months, according to Redfin. I love it. I'm going to even underestimate that. Let's say prices only dropped 5%. Out of 100,000, we're talking about 95,000. Is that okay? If we're just assuming rough numbers here, right? T-Sug, I would be happy to answer that question. Let's put a pin in that and come back to it. Please remind me to answer that question. We're going to run a little late, but I'm fine with that if you guys are. Let's call it 95,000. 95,000 minus 20,000 minus 5,000 minus our 10. So we're at 75, 70, we're at $60,000 minus, what did we say? we said the market's trending down. So 95 times 20% is 19,000. So 60,000 minus 19,000 puts us at 41,000. Right now we've taken into account the fix and flippers potential profit. Now we also have closing costs, agents fees, all that stuff typically adds up. Because we're savvy investors, we can probably get that around, 8% roughly, something like that. Yeah, Spencer, exactly. So let's call it 8%. So 95 times 0.08, another 7,500. So 41 minus 7. So we're at 33,500. All right. Our maximum allowable offer on this property is in the ballpark of 33,500. Our maximum allowable cash offer, which happens to be roughly around 50%. We could have saved ourselves all that time if we would have just said 50% from the beginning. But I think it's valid that we go through all the little steps. You should be going through all the little steps so that you can get your minds around what is comping? What does that mean? How do we compare other properties? How do we look at rehab values? What is this? It's important that we realize that we need to talk about what this house is worth now in its current condition, not what its future potential value is, and that's why it's listed at this price. That's agent talk. Agent talk is always like, oh, this house can, once you fix it up, it's going to be worth way more than this. BS. Don't believe anything an agent ever tells you, unless they're Tory and they're a unicorn agent and they're fantastic. But 99% of agents have no clue what you're talking about. They know a very, very limited. I mean, they're licensed, but they have the most narrow vision of what real estate is. Most of them believe sub 2 is illegal. And when you explain to them, have you guys ever looked at the HUD document, line 203, line 503? Subject 2 is written right on the government document, the HUD. Line 203, it's a legit government. They encourage this. It's on there. So there's no way it's illegal, right? What is MAO on this? I'm looking at maximum allowable offer in roughly around 33,500, roughly. Yes. So, Manav, MAO equals ARV, yep, minus rehab costs, yep, minus net margin, yes. In this case, 20% because of the market, minus other transaction related costs. Absolutely, nailed it right on the head. That's how Robert gets to MAO. If we're taking like a super detailed look at it, right? Again, there's a million ways to skin a cat. I'm trying to be as detailed as possible because I want you guys to learn, and also because it's fun, gives us something to talk about. Any questions? Any questions on that? I think it's a good place to stop. Like, we've comped the property, and you guys kind of get the basic ideas of how to comp, and we've talked about like learning how to do all those basic little steps and getting them done as quickly as possible so that we can comp more properties, get more offers submitted, get our numbers up and learning and doing better. So, I mean, you're never going to get an offer unless you're submitting an offer. You're never going to get a contract unless you submit an offer. So get those things submitted, get stuff going. If there's any questions, feel free to hit raise your hand, and I'd be happy to answer questions. What is going on here? I must have got remote control of something.
I just think you did a great job. You're a wonderful trainer. I think you're very thorough.
Hi, Yonetti. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm trying to be as detailed as I can for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's Discord, Facebook, Instagram. I use the same handle everywhere. It's on the screen there. This will be posted to YouTube. It'll probably be a day or two until I get it up there, because I have other things going on, obviously, and I'll get to it as quickly as I can. I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for
I have
coming
a
out.
question.
Yes. I don't
regarding-
see anything. Just a second. Just a second.
Yeah, Daniel.
All right. There you are. I found you. Give me 1 second. Okay. Talk to me, Daniel.
Yeah, so regarding the offer, will you give a verbal offer or will you take the time to write it down since it's a low offer?
So, are you concerned that you're going to offend someone by offering this low?
No, just going through the process of writing up the offer and they are saying no, it's not going to be accepted.
Yeah, so I wouldn't submit, Stefan talked about it earlier. Don't submit an offer without first having talked to the agent, having done a little bit of relationship building, having gathered as much information from them as possible, building that rapport, right? Now, if you get to the point where you're wanting to submit an offer, it depends on where you are. It looks like you're in Miami. I'm not sure if you're working the Miami market or not.
Yeah.
Look into the specific, like talk to other wholesalers and ask them how they're doing it. Or you can talk to your agent and ask them, the agent on the property, ask them like, hey, do you want to start with a verbal offer? Do you want me to put something in writing? Do you want an LOI instead of an offer on, contract offer? What do you prefer? That's a great way to start. For example, in Texas, we don't submit, legit first offers. We submit LOIs first, because we have peculiar rules about EMD and returning that money and all that sort of stuff. So we do things a little bit different in Texas because we're better than everyone else, I think. I'm just kidding. I don't think Texas is better. But yeah, talk to the agents, see what they want. And then if they're like, yeah, I just want it on paper, I would put it on paper. You're always going to be taken seriously if you put it on paper. And also remember that when you submit something on paper, it's seen as legit, and your agent is required by law to submit it to their seller. So that's a great way to get in front of the seller. Submit it. Start negotiations somewhere.
Okay. And in the case that the property has an outstanding loan for more than the offer price, what would you do in that case? Let's say in that particular property, there is an outstanding loan for 50,000. What would you do in that case?
What would I do, or what would I recommend?
No,
you
I mean,
do?
what would be the scenario there? Because they owe 50,000, but you're offering 33,000. So,
yes, that moves into creative options. There's things we can do on the creative side that would potentially make this a deal, but those are way beyond the scope of what we're doing here. We can talk about subject to, we can talk about seller financing, we can talk about hybrids, wraps. There's lots of stuff we can do.
okay.
Yeah. Even if let's say the property was worth $70,000 but the mortgage was $100,000. Most people would be like, oh, they're upside down. There's nothing you can do. And there's still stuff we can do. There's still creative options. It depends on how flexible and motivated the seller is. And how, if they're desperate and they need to get out of something, it's easier typically to do creative stuff, but you never lead with creative. If it's a cash offer, it's a cash offer. Yeah, if you have a situation like that, James is asking, what do you do? Sure, bring it to me. I'm happy to put you in touch. I have a lot of stuff going on, but I know a lot of people who would be more than happy, Daniel, more than happy to help you guys out. Like, please bring everything to me. I'm happy to put you in contact with people who can help you take down a property like that. Definitely not intro stuff. Those creative options are not intro. That's not 101 level stuff. We're talking like 505 level, master's level stuff. Not, but we can definitely handle it. Sure. And we can handle, if you need it, if you're having issue, like if you talk to an agent and they're like, hey, I need you to have your agent submit an offer or else I won't look at it, then bring it to us. We have agents who can help you submit offers within Sub2 who would be ecstatic to help you guys. If you need,
I'm an agent here in Miami.
perfect.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm getting into that. I'm getting into the MLS to start looking into listings that have been standing there for a long time.
Yeah,
and
if
seeing
you
what's
get
going on
into
with
things, if you're getting into like, what happens, like, okay, you submit a contract, you get the contract signed, and now you got to put up some EMD. Well, not everyone has $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 laying around to put up EMD, whatever, 1%, to put up all these transactional fees and costs and all that stuff, escrow and titles and all that stuff. No problem. Bring it to me. I'm happy to work with you. I have Gators who would be happy to partner with you to take down a deal and make sure you guys are making headway. Get those offers in. Everything else can be taken care of. Even if you totally screw up a contract, no problem. We can help you through it. We can figure it out. You can't sin worse, bad enough that we don't love you. Don't worry, you're not going to screw nothing up. We're happy to help, okay? So reach out to me. You guys have my contact handle. That's the best way. Discord and Facebook Messenger are typically the best way to get a hold of me.
Rob, are you an agent as well?
No,
No, okay.
I'm not an agent. I'm working toward it because I think my team would be better served if I was an agent. We'd be able to do a few things quicker. So I'm working on it.
Yeah, no, I ask you because my my brokerage just opened up in Texas.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man.
I've
Thank
got
you.
a quick question.
Okay, give me 1 second so I can try to. Can you, if you guys have questions, please go into the bottom, into reactions, and hit reactions, and you'll see a raise hand button. And if you just hit that raise hand button, what it does is it puts it in my queue, and then I can see who raised their hands, and I don't have to like hunt through all the little pictures to try to figure out which one is you. So is it Sebastian? Was that Sebastian who asked the question?
No, that was another one else. He can go before. It's Lars. He's
Yeah,
just
whoever
raising the
it
hand.
was, whoever it was, please raise your hand, and I will do my best to get to you.
I can go after him. No worries.
I don't see any raised hands, so you're the only one right now, Sebastian.
Okay. So the question quick that I was making is, I did a phone call yesterday to an agent, And the property definitely needs some renovation. I think it's actually a property that could be a good deal. But he was kind of pissed off that there's been so many contracts that suddenly cancel and that the property looks bad.
Mhm.
And he was telling me like, well, you have to come to make the inspection before you submit an offer. Is that
Okay.
actually I mean, if you want to submit an offer, as you said, they have to show it to the client. I mean, I just think the guy was way too pissed off.
Yeah, it happens. You know, there's some knucklehead wholesalers out there who put stuff on their contract and let it fall out because they locked it in too high. Be super diligent in, you know, making sure your comp is strong. If you feel like you have a good grasp of what the numbers should be at, I would say put an offer in. If the agent is like, I need you to see the property first, you know, that very well could be something that the seller requested because they get sick and tired of having stuff fall out of contract too. So now I'm assuming you're doing this remote and you would have to find
Yeah.
someone else to do boots on the ground.
Yes.
You can try to find someone to do boots on the ground. The other thing, like, take a little bit extra time to be, you know, rapport building with the agent. Like, hey, I see this fill out a contract. You know, it sucks, man. I don't understand. All these wholesalers are giving us a bad rap, you know. What happened? Like, why did they back out? Do you know? So try to gather a little bit more information. That's an approach. Sometimes you're gonna have a hard time and they're gonna be difficult and it's not gonna work, and unfortunately just move on, you know.
Okay.
So you judge how much time you want to spend on it.
I mean, no, I think maybe you can do a follow-up 2 weeks and then just submit something. If he doesn't show interest, then just move on.
Yeah, and following up is good too, you know. Gather info, follow up. Like, hey man, I want to submit an offer on this, but I don't want to be the same guy who falls out of contract because it wasn't right. Like, what's your seller really wanting for this? How much would he take for cash? Would he be open to other options? And yeah, work it that way.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks for coming back, Sebastian. Good to see you, man.
Thank you. Good to see you too.
Lars, let me hit unmute. All right. Add pin.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's going on?
Awesome. Hey, I don't know if this is outside of the scope of this or not, but during the Elephant Challenge, I actually talked to a number of agents and started building relationships and whatnot. And a number of them, I had the conversation about off-market properties. And I guess the next question is how do or what conversation should I have once they have, you know, like come back to me that like, yes, we've got this property. I mean, do I try and bring them on as a seller agent or as you know, sorry, having a lack of vocabulary at the moment, as a consultant or a finder, or you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Let me. Tori, are you in here? I see Crystal. Crystal disappeared. There she is. Crystal, you're an agent, aren't you? Just a second. Something's happening. I think Crystal's an agent. She might have disappeared. So most of the time when they're bringing you like off-market stuff, they're going to want a piece of the pie.
course.
So talk to them and work it out. See if they want 3% or if they're okay with like a finder's fee.
Ah, there you go. That's the word I was searching for.
Yeah. Finder's fee, or if they want, most of them are going to want 3%. But if you can talk to them and negotiate, like, hey, I'm happy to include you on all these things that you bring me, and I'll just pay you a straight finder's fee at closing.
Sure, because I mean, if they did it as a seller agent, then don't they have to kind of cut in their broker as well? So they lose a piece of their 3%.
Yeah,
So they
exactly.
could actually be money ahead by doing the finder's fee, I'm thinking.
Yes. I mean, yeah. It's preferable obviously to do a finder's fee because things work faster that way. But sometimes some of them are, you know, I've worked with agents before where look, Crystal says I agree, finder's fee is fair, and we see that quite a bit. Yeah. I've worked with agents where they will list everything. Doesn't matter where they got it, how they got it, they will list it because they think it's fair, and gives everyone an option. But yeah,
I guess now, just as a follow-up now, if they're willing to go with the finder's fee, and they're, then I guess at that point in time, they're taking off their realtor hat. And they're putting on a different hat, if you will. At that point, then wouldn't it be easier to go direct to seller and actually have conversation with the seller to actually open up potential for more creative financing?
If the agent has entered into contract with the seller, do not go behind their back.
Oh,
That
no, definitely,
agent,
definitely not. I guess I was going with is if it's an off-market listing and that agent knows it's off market, it's not on market yet, and they're coming to me, you know, bringing it to me as a finder, then wouldn't I be able to? No, am I confused?
no, you're not confused at all. What you're describing is something that I would never do. I value the relationship that I have with my agents because I want them to bring me repeat business.
Exactly. That's
They're
kind of
gonna,
what I was thinking.
it's gonna take a little while for you to develop that relationship and rapport with them. But once you have like 2 or 3 agents who are bringing you routine business, like, hey, they have something that's off market. Obviously, you need to talk to them and be like, hey, let's work on a standardized finder's fee for the properties you're bringing me because I want to make sure you're getting compensated. You know, whether it's, and realize that 3%. You know, I tell all the agents I work with, like, I want to make sure you're getting paid whatever you want. If you want me to pay you your 3%, I'll pay you your 3%. If the numbers work out, right? Would you be willing to go down to 1% knowing that I'm going to be able to handle a higher number of, you know, properties? So again, talk to your agents, like, but I would never go unless I first talked to the agent and was like, do you want me to just take over this and go directly to the seller? I would never assume I could do that unless I first talked to the agent. That's how I personally do it. Yeah. Because you don't want an agent, it's a small world, you know. You don't want an agent to tell another agent to tell another agent, then nobody brings you business.
Oh, by no means was I trying to go about that. I'm actually just trying to figure out what is the norm for that because I've had a handful of conversations with seller agents and kind of determined the property that I had called on was a real shit show, if you will.
Yeah.
Pardon
Yeah.
my French. And then I I brought up, like, all right, I'm really not going to, I don't think I'm going to be a buyer for this, and then I kind of caveated into creative financing, and the few of them that were very perceptive to this had heard of creative financing and were familiar with it, and they think it's a great thing. And then, then I brought up off-market listings, and they're like, oh yeah, definitely. And I had a couple like, all right, yeah, I've got some that are coming up that I know that are going to be, in the next month or two or what have you, and I'll definitely reach out to you. So then I was just trying to kind of prepare for when they start reaching back out to me with these off-market listings, the right way to go, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course. And just realize that even if it's an agent and they're bringing you off-market stuff, it's usually overpriced. Almost everything that agents bring me is overpriced. On market, off market. I comp them the same. Most of everything is overpriced, and I offer lower cash prices, and that's typically a place to start.
Hey, Rob, may I add something?
Just a second. Man,
I
I
raised
gotta
the
turn.
hand.
Just a second. Let me mute. Daniel. Hey, what's up?
Yeah, so since I'm an agent, so just to give a little idea how it works, we as agents, we don't close anything in our name. So everything has to be closed by the brokerage, by the broker. So even when we lower our commission, we have to let the broker know that we're gonna lower our commission. So, and also we have systems where we belong to teams as well inside the brokerage. And those teams also get a cut of our commissions. So
Oh my
unless you
goodness.
find an agent that it's a seasoned agent and he can do all his work, then you don't have so many commissions. Being a broker agent, he will do all his work. But if you
Are
have
you
a
with Keller
newbie agent,
Williams?
no. Right now with LPT. Before I was with EXP.
EXP, yeah. Keller
Yeah.
Williams does stupid stuff like this too. Like they make you split your commissions with everybody. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So the one thing though, if the agent is gonna use his MLS number and is gonna put you in contract with an MLS contract, then you're gonna have to go through the brokerage and agree on the
Yes.
percentage. But
Yeah.
if the agent
So
is a savvy agent, one of those unicorn agents, and he can put in his investor hat and he doesn't touch the agent side at all, then you can probably just cut a commission to him at closing, but he's going to have to use his LLC or however he does business as an investor without touching the MLS number.
yeah, and I think there's even state specific rules about how it's done. Differs by state. Yeah, thanks a lot, Danny. I appreciate it, man. I think that's all for today, guys. I need to go take a nap. It's bedtime. Thank you guys for coming out. If you need anything, again, feel free to reach out to me on Discord, on Facebook, on Instagram. I will post this in my YouTube channel. Same handle. You can find me all over. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me I'm awesome because I live off compliments and makes me feel good. Other than that, I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place, 7 p.m. We're going to try to do my best to figure out what the crack is happening with all the Zoom links. I have 2 Zooms on Tuesdays. One is at 6 o'clock and one's at 7 o'clock. And I sent in the Zooms to be posted, and I'm under the impression they got posted backwards. So we're going to try to fix all that. But thank you guys for coming out. I really, really, really do appreciate it. I'm hoping that I'm as helpful as I possibly can be. Please go into Facebook, into Instagram, wherever you are, post that you were here, that you learned something, post what you learned. I'm sure the rest of the team would love your feedback on that too. Everyone have a great week. Have a great night. If you want to save the chat before I click off and everything, go into the bottom right, like where you type in, click those little 3 dots, and you can save a copy of the chat as a text document. Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great night. Have a great week. Bye.